everyone, and welcome to Rainbow Stars channel. And today I'm actually going to give you a pregnancy update along with my views on the pro-life versus pro-choice subject, because I touched in my other video that I was actually pro-life, and I just didn't want people getting the wrong idea because they generalize us in a group. And I just like to clarify a few things with that. So here we go. I am currently about 15 weeks pregnant. I'll be 16 weeks in the next 3 days. So I'm actually making it far along. We did go to the doctor and we did get more sonogram pictures. So I'm going to show you those, which are really cool. And I'll touch base on a little bit more about the pregnancy. Just kind of document a little bit. So when my baby's born, it's like, oh, so that's how you were when I was little. So here we go. This is the new sonogram picture. As you can see the nose up here, nose, mouth, head, and down here we actually have a more of a, let me see if I can't get a good picture of this. There we go. This is a more 3D picture of the baby. The eye, the jaw, nose, mouth, arms, torso, neck. You can basically see everything in this picture, but I'm not sure if you guys can make it out. Here we go. So you can see the head, the jaw, everything in there. It does have a nose, neck. So yeah. So that was really hard to get a good picture of that, but hopefully you guys look at it and go, oh, okay, I can see some of the features. If you can't, I don't blame you. It's not a gummy bear anymore. It's an actual baby. So I'm really excited about that. It has all of its organs so far, has bones coming in, has a brain that's developing, it already has all of its organs coming in, kidney function, so it's got all that cool stuff. Now, I've been suffering from some cravings recently. One of the cravings that I was going for is actually honey. I put honey on a lot of weird things, like for example, olives, black olives. I was like, you know what would be good on these black olives? Some honey. Everybody laughed at me. My whole family thought it was hilarious. I was like, no guys, no, it's not funny. I need it. I need the honey. I can't not have honey on my olives. I don't know. So I eat honey and olives, and I actually made a concoction tonight with like hot dogs, and I cut up the hot dogs, put them in a bowl, put onion on it, and then I put ketchup with Louisiana hot sauce, and then I put honey on it. Mixed it up. It was like a sweet and sour kind of sensation. I loved it. It was so good. Oh my gosh, it was the best. So there's that. And but yeah, so I've been having some weird cravings that are pretty odd. Mostly spicy foods, I've noticed. Like salsa and chips, salt and spicy. You know, I sometimes want fruit, and sometimes I really want meat, you know, like beef is one of the big things, which is crazy because I hadn't eaten beef in like 3 to 4 years, and all of a sudden I'm eating beef again. Strange how pregnancy can change things. So there's that. But yeah, baby will be 16 weeks along in the next 3 days, and I got a doctor appointment on that day whenever I'm 16 weeks, and we're going to get another update with blood work and all that jazz. So I'm high risk, so I go in frequently for blood work, monitoring, heart rate, sonograms. I have another sonogram coming up on the 21st, so we have quite a bit of looking into this to do. So, all right. Now, since I've touched on the cravings and the pregnancy, I'm going to touch on my pro-life stance so that nobody gets the wrong idea. I am pro-life for me. I'm pro-life for me, meaning if I have an unplanned, which this is, pregnancy, even if I'm not financially stable, I myself cannot imagine aborting or being rid of the child inside of me. I wouldn't, it wouldn't weigh well on my conscience. I couldn't imagine it. I've wanted a child forever, for so long, and though it's unplanned, and though it was an accidental pregnancy, I could never imagine ending. Not even through, normal means, really, I couldn't imagine it. Like, it's a human, it's growing in me, and I'm excited that I'm gonna be a mom. So, for me, I could never do it. That's not to say that I'm against those who make that choice. So I'm pro-life for me, pro-choice for others. Because who am I to tell these people what to do with their bodies or with their lives? Or who am I to demand that somebody carry a child to term when they're not able, or if there's a situation that only they know about? I'm not going to use semantics or scenarios, because we already know the scenarios and the semantics. And I'm not going to demonize these people whom make these decisions, because it's not my decision to make for them. It's their decision to make for them, and if they can live with it, then by all means, they deserve to have that right to choose. Do I share that viewpoint of abortion equals murder? No. I do not believe these women go in with every intention to destroy and or kill and or take pleasure in the act of what's going on. A lot of women who suffer from abortions or even just miscarriages, all of them suffer a form of depression afterwards, and many live with that depression and go through that grieving process, and it's a brain thing that happens to all women, so they don't enjoy it. It's not like they're going out, and to me, murder is a person going out and killing somebody because they like it. They like it, it gives them a high, it makes them feel good. That's a murderer. That's a killer. A killer is somebody who likes doing it. They enjoy it. Women don't enjoy that. There's no joy there. It's the hardest decision any woman ever has to make. And I'm just glad I'm not in that position where I have to make that kind of choice. And, there are even health issues with some ladies, and it's unavoidable. And sometimes the baby's not even viable. And when it's not viable, it won't live outside the womb anyway. Why waste your time? You know what I mean? Like, there are all sorts of situations in which this might either be, one, medically necessary, or two, again, their choice, their body, what they want to do. If they want to give birth to it and give it up for adoption, that's their decision. If they don't want to do that and they would opt more for getting rid of it, that's their decision, not mine. So I'm not going to demonize these people or treat them like they're serial killers because they have a decision to make. And it's not anyone's place to tell somebody that what they're doing is murder, because it's not. There's a vast difference there from me anyway. I know that other people won't share this view, and it's controversial, and that there's a lot of people that don't respect other people's decisions. But as an individual, I respect all human beings, big and small. I respect everybody and decisions they make. If I had a friend that had to go through with something like that, I would be there and be supportive, because it is the worst thing imaginable for some of these women. They don't want to do it. It's not something they enjoy doing. Of course, nobody would. But it's something that sometimes is necessary in their case. They don't feel there's any other way, and they need more support than to be chastised and hated on. So in that aspect, everybody just needs to be more respectful when it comes to both sides of things. Pro-lifers, you guys got to be more respectful of the people who have that decision to make. You can't make that decision for them. You can't force their hand or make this illegal, because they're going to find ways anyway to do this. even without the proper medical help. A lot of women back in the day, they used to have back alley abortions, and it killed many, many women's lives. It didn't just take the lives of the babies, but it also killed the women. So, you know, and there are so many teens out there that get pregnant too, and it's not anything they do on purpose or intentionally. You know, they're just young and silly, and things happen to the best of people, and everyone has a decision to make. And I mean, how is it anybody else's right to go up and say this should be illegal, non-accessible, and then you have people dying all the time from it anyway? Or have abandonment issues, where the mothers will abandon the baby after it's born, throwing it in the dumpster or leaving it in the park, you know, abandoning it somewhere else because they just don't want it, they can't do it, and so they leave it. So there's many situations in which, again, I'm not going to judge people and what they decide to do, but I think it is necessary to keep it legal so that we don't have that problem of people going about it the back alley way. And you know, if people are going to do it anyway, might as well do it safely. And I care about people, so you just got to weigh the pros and cons. So, but yeah, no, I'm not going to demonize people for their decisions, and I'm not going to tell them that they're serial killers, because they're not. And it's a terrible, terrible choice to make, and I'm just glad I'm not the one making it. So so yeah, I'm respectful of these people, and I hope they respect my beliefs that, for me, life begins at conception. You know, the baby cells divide, it starts to develop, and then once it gets a heartbeat and then a brain, and you know, it just keeps developing over time. And no one can tell me that that baby is not alive, that there's not something alive in there. And though I know that some people like to do semantics, and they can argue, well, if it doesn't have a brain, it can't feel. You know, even if it has a heartbeat, if it doesn't have a brain, it can't be alive because it's not conscious, it can't feel pain. And though that might be true, the scientific notion of the beginning of life is at conception, whenever the sperm meets the egg and then it implants. And that's the beginning of life. It's the start. It's the beginning. At that point, it develops into a human being. And can you tell me that a fetus is not a human being? Absolutely not. It is a human being. It's just a developing human being. There's a lot of semantics with that. You know, you could play with it all you want, but for me, it's a baby. And everyone knows it's a baby. We use terms like fetus to make it more palpable and make it easier for us to digest the decisions that some of these women have to make. And not that I disagree with it, I just think it's all semantics, and it's all arguable, and you could go back and forth forever, you know, with the, oh, well, if it doesn't have a brain, if it does have an immune, nervous system, but for me, it's alive, and I'm excited to be having a baby. But yeah, I just thought that I'd bring it forward, my views on that, so nobody thinks that I'm, just because I'm pro-life, that I'm not pro-choice, and just because I have one certain stance and belief, it doesn't mean, and also it doesn't, like, I grew up as a Baptist. Does that make me overly religious? No. Do I believe in Jesus? Yes. I believe he was a person. Do I believe in superpowers? Not really. So, like, I formed my own beliefs over time based on the information given, making my own conjectures and my own, I'm not part of a mass group of thinking. I like to think for myself. So, do I believe there's a God? Absolutely. I believe there's something greater than me that created all of this. It's all kind of crazy to just suggest that it just all poofed into existence one day without any form of help. So, especially where the world's placed and how the universe works. So anyway, we can get into all that later. But from the standpoint of putting religion aside, pro-lifers don't always have to have a religion either. So putting that aside, you know, I don't believe it's a sin either. If you got to make that choice, you know, all the power to you on what you decide to do, what you think you can live with. And, you know, I'm not judging you. The good Lord wouldn't judge you. You're not evil, you know, for making that kind of decision. And, so yeah, so for those ladies out there who are pro-choice, just know I'm not against you. And, I'm for the fact that you deserve a choice. And, you know, I'm willing to meet people halfway on it. Does that mean I'd ever go do it? No. I wouldn't be able to live with myself for it. I couldn't do it. I'm too sweet to actually go through something like that. I think that mentally it would cripple me. So I would never think about doing something like that. I think it would be traumatic, very traumatic experience. And I don't wish that on anybody. But at the same time, again, it's their choice. Respect it. So, but yeah, and later on in a different video, I'll touch on development, how far baby is. Right now, my baby is 5 ounces, and it's actually 5 days ahead of schedule from the last sonogram, which is fantastic. And, you know, my baby has a brain developing, it already has a heartbeat, got kidneys, got a bladder, has its own system happening, and arms, legs, I saw it all. So I'm very excited. Has a bone structure, looks very healthy, and I'm very excited. So hopefully everything keeps going well, and they don't have to worry about it. But yep, so I touched on everything. I made sure everybody knows my stance on it, that I'm pro-life for me, pro-choice for others, and that I think that everybody could use a little dose of, you know, for some people that say that people aren't pro-choice, they're pro-murder or pro-death. There's a lot that goes into that. There really is. So it's not so black and white. People can't just tear somebody apart because they have to make a decision. You know, it's not. And the whole argument of your body, your right, I believe that, yeah. Wholeheartedly. I mean, it's ultimately their decision. And I think that I've heard a lot of the argument stated that men deserve to have a say in what happens to their babies. I believe that that is factual too. I think that any mother who's thinking about going through such a procedure should notify and or talk to, at least, at the very least, their partner that helped them make the baby, and make it, you know, intellectual decision for the both of them that they can both live with if they're in a relationship. If they weren't in a relationship, well, the man really doesn't have a say. Again, semantics. So one could argue, well, they're no longer dating, they broke up or whatever happened, and if they're not going to be supportive, then, you know, again, a lot of semantics with it. Unless you are the biological father, you really don't got a say in it. So, and if you are the biological father, but you weren't told, that sucks. But again, every woman has their choices to make, and if that's their choice, that's their choice. So, it might not be fair, but life is really fair. So, yeah, I don't want people to hate me, but those are my views, and I stick by them. And like I said, I'm not evil toward one individual or the other, and I'm just trying to be respectful of all sides of the equation. So, yep, those are my thoughts, and yep, I'm super excited to be having a kiddo. But yeah, alright everybody, remember, when you view, peace, love, unity, and respect, and as soon as I get more word on how the baby's doing or the gender, I'll definitely reveal that to you guys, because I'm excited to know what I'm having. I did a chromosomal test, non-invasive, on me to see what I'm having, so let's cross our fingers and Hope I know soon. All right, everybody.